These are only minor sores, growing pains we'll ignore. Don't let this become all you have. These are only minor sores, growing pains we'll ignore. Don't let this become all you have, all you have.
Welcome to today's lesson for my grandkids. And on today's show, I'm going to talk about the basic grooves when you start playing drums. So let's get started. Now, the most basic drum groove there is the basic rock drum groove. And the way this groove starts is 2 and 4 on the snare drum and 1 and 3 on the kick drum. So if we're listening to, let's play it with a metronome so we get time. So basically what I want you to do is just play the kick and the snare drum. 2, 3, 4. Now, with that being as the starting point, the next part of this that you really need to get is the other hand. So to get that coordination between the hand and the foot to happen is usually the hardest thing. So let's look at it from a different approach. Let's look at it from the approach of playing eighth notes on the hi-hat, 2 and 4 on the snare drum. So in this practice, what we're doing is we're playing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. But we're going to put a 2 in the 4, which is a together beat with the right hand. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. So we practice that with the hand so we get that. And then we got to fit the foot in on the 1 and the 3. Now for some people, that's not as easy as you think. I remember when I started out, my first school concert was I was probably 14. I was in high school freshman year. I somehow got in the stage band because there were only 2 freshman drummers. And the other kid could actually play the beat, and I really wasn't very good. But I had to play this song called Traces. And the song Traces basically had a groove that went like this. Da 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 da. Well, that was the groove. But when I was playing it, I couldn't get the foot to really lay in there. And the day I got the foot to lay in there was the day of the concert. And that's when it came together. And that's when I kind of realized that I could get the coordination to play the 1 and the 3 on the foot and the 2 and the 4 on the snare drum. So that's what this pattern is. Now, one of the things they taught me when I first got a practice pad and was starting to do my hand exercises was to tap my foot on 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I would practice things. And I could do that. But for some reason, when it came to the drum kit, that didn't cross over. So let's not play 1 and 3 on the bass drum. Let's just try playing quarter notes on the bass drum. So 2, 3, 4. And now let's put the hand thing together. So let's start with just the right hand, which is the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 1 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now yours probably doesn't sound like that. Believe it or not, if you're just starting out, it probably sounds more like this. So with rock music, one of the things you need to learn in playing rock music is that the kick, the bass drum, and the snare drum are louder than the hi-hat cymbals. And that's something that a lot of young players don't get. So in developing this basic pattern, what I want you to try to do is first get the pattern, and then when you get the pattern, learn how to pull back the hi-hat and play the snare and the kick louder. Something like this. Now, if you can't play 4 on the floor, then play 1 and 3, which is the other beat where we started. Now, this is the starting point. This is not the finish point. And this is just to get the basic coordination together. I recommend working out of a book called Realistic Rock. It's the book I started in. There's many starting rock books that have the same grooves as Realistic Rock, but the progression of Realistic Rock, of seeing on the page it written out with eighth notes together, is very lined up nicely on a page that you can understand. And that's what I really liked about this particular book. The bass drums line up, the snare drums line up on the beats where they belong, and if it's an in-betweeny beat, when we start getting into 16th notes, they show up in between and they really are written well on the page. So Carmen Appice did a great job of writing this book. I've been using it for as long as I've been playing drums pretty much, and I can tell you that book is a starting point for us. So I recommend the Realistic Rock drum book for anybody starting to play beginning rock beats. Because the key with the coordination is to land the hi-hat with those together snare and bass drum. Now, once you start developing that coordination, the metronome helps you lock in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you can pick it up if you want. Now, another thing in playing this, and this is developing, this is a little bit higher level concept than just the beginner concept for my grandkids, is once you get that groove together, you'll find it's one of the most useful grooves in music, period. It's what some refer to as the money beat, the 1 and 3, 2 and 4 on the snare drum. It is a basic beat that's found in lots of forms of music, popular music. So your ability to play this can change over time if you can start to develop the difference in how you hit the hi-hat. So there's sometimes you want to accent the hi-hat on the 1, 2, on the beats. So this is on the beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you might want to take it and go on the off beats. To change it up. So there's ways to make it feel differently, is what I'm saying. So this beat can be embellished. Now, the real advanced lesson is, once you get this beat, is embellishing the beat. And there's ways to embellish the beat that still keep that pattern going, but make it a little bit funkier. So we'll drop the tempo back a little bit. Let's go to about 90. So what I'm doing there is one E and 2 and a 3 E and 4 and a 1 E and 2 and a 3 E and 4 and a 1 E and 2 and a 3 E and 4. The key is the 2 and the 4 are louder than those other notes. Those other notes are called ghost notes. 2, 3. Here's another very basic thing that you need to learn, and I did it as I came into that last little section. Let's learn a simple fill that comes in here. So one of the games I play with Asher, my grandson, is we go 4 bars and then we play a fill. So here's a basic fill to work on in a 4-bar phrase. And this is, remember, we're going to start with just the basic fill, and then I'm going to show you how to move it around the kit a little bit. The fill is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. Now, and when we play the game, we start to add more. So I started with a 1 and 2 and, which is like a 2-beat fill, versus the 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, which is a 4-beat fill. So in doing that, it helps me to work on throwing some different stuff in, playing on a basic beat. And when you're working out of the Carmen Appice book, as you start to develop all the beats and you start reading down the page, you can start practicing. You can do at the end of the 4 bars, you can play a fill, or at the end of 3 bars, play a fill. And that gets you to learn phrasing. Because part of drumming is learning music and phrasing. And music is created in phrases. Now, phrases are not always 4 bars, 8 bars, 16 bars, 12 bars. But a lot of popular music is based around that. And a lot of our type of pop music today is based on 8-bar phrases. So every 4, 3 beats of groove, and the bar 4 being a fill is kind of like a half a phrase. But it helps you to develop the idea of musicality and playing in phrases. And that's the starting point of playing music. So these are just some ideas. To get started, let's review. To get started, work on this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and And that's when I start to embellish. So I start to do and 1 and 2 and 4, 1 and 2 and 4. By the way, I went from money beat, 4 on the floor, to almost a variation of the 9-year-old rock beat, I like to call it. And those of you that have seen any of my other videos on church drumming know that those are 3 of the basic beats from that video. So, thank you all for watching. Asher, Elliot, Trey, Jace, and also Roslyn. I left Roslyn out of the one video where I mentioned their names. Any of those grandkids might end up playing drums at some point in time. If you get to watch this, remember, ask Poppy. Poppy will help you out. Love you, Grandies. Thanks for watching, everybody. And everybody have a great day.